There are two things you always need to be doing consistently. Number one, getting coaching and coaching others to make them better. But it all starts with surrounding yourself with people who are better than you. That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast. Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. So good to see you. I want to talk about this week the concept of iron sharpens iron. But first, let's remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works, relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources about what you need to do to be agile, but we're focused on who you need to become in order to lead teams. So let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a unique and powerful force in this industry. If this helps you, tell your friends. And don't forget to check out my daily Agile inspiration for leaders by subscribing to my email list. You'll get a preview of next week's pages and a free video to help you align your week with strength and focus delivered straight to your inbox. You can also submit your coaching or leadership questions. You do it all at badassagile.com, so go sign up and post your questions today. If we truly want to create an elite tribe of leaders, we have to do things that create exceptional mindsets and exceptional behaviors. And one of the concepts I'd really like to drive home is that the people that you hang out with and spend time with have a massive impact on the person that you become. So as an Agile leader, you need to be prepared for two things. Number one, people are going to gravitate towards you because they're going to want to gather your knowledge. They're going to want to learn how you do what you do. They're going to want to understand what your journey was so that they themselves can get better, can learn from your experiences. But you also have to get used to the fact that you too are going to have to continually upgrade your social network. As you proceed in your journey as a leader, you're going to notice that you no longer have time, patience, or appreciation for people who, for example, do too much complaining, people who won't do anything to improve their own station in life, even if it's something as simple as their own Agile education, people who expect to be handed things, people who carry a sense of entitlement, people who carry around a sense of poor me. Friends, if you want to be successful in the Agile space, one of the things you're going to have to overcome are the traditional causes of Agile failure. And as we know, and we've spoken about so many times, that is a failure of the great big immovable force, a failure of those people to change their minds to do differently. So it comes from wanting Agile because we want things to be faster or better or cheaper, but we're not willing to do any of the things that are required to bring about those changes. That's a tremendous mountain for you and you alone to lift. You're going to need massive influence skills. You're going to need massive willpower. You're going to need killer inner strength. So if you don't already have those things, where are you going to get them? Well, I don't believe that those are skills that you can adopt by just reading book after book after book. A leader gets her or his strength from their own sense of certainty, from their authenticity, from their experiences, from their wisdom, from their maturity. And the best way to get some of that for yourself is A, to live through it, but also to spend time with people who have already been there. So what you need to do is find leaders that you admire, and it doesn't have to be in the Agile space, but it certainly can be. Get out there and find those mentors. And then once you find them, you just have to do simple things. It's just a question of spending time with them. You don't have to ask them to train you, but spending an hour over a meal or over a coffee is a great way to transfer some of that knowledge and experience and insight that they have to you. Another thing that it will do is keep you inspired. Somebody who's already lived through some of the difficult hurdles and conquered them has a lot to teach you and I about the skills and mindsets that are required to overcome them. This whole journey towards personal and leadership mastery that we're all going through is kind of like a puzzle, and there's going to be big pieces missing. They're in the box somewhere. Your job is just to find them and start assembling and arranging them so you've got a total picture. And the people that you hang out with are a huge part of getting access to all of those pieces. The notion of iron sharpens iron comes from the idea that only a steel can sharpen steel. When you see somebody sharpening a knife, they grind it away using the stone, but they hone it using another piece of steel, because you need something as hard or harder to get that edge perfectly straight. And when it's perfectly straight, that's when it's at its most effective. So who will your iron be? That's a question I want you to think about this week, because if all you do is hang out with the folks that are in the lunchroom, yes, you're doing a good job of socializing and getting to know people at the team level, at the organizational level, and that's wonderful. It helps build rapport, it helps build trust. But you have to be very particular about whom you absorb ideas from. If you surround yourself around constant pessimists, chronic complainers, people who blame others or outside circumstances for their present conditions, people who have no faith in the organization, no faith in their fellow man, no faith in Agile, no faith in a positive outcome, then guess what's going to happen to your mindset and your attitude? It is all too easy and tempting to say, you know what, this is too hard. This isn't doable. I did my best. It's the boss's fault. It's the industry's fault. It's the government's fault. But what's going to make you a 2% leader, what's going to make you a badass, is your insistence that there is always a way. And if there isn't a way, we're going to make a way. That's the spirit of the badass leader. Remember, get gritty. This is not about doing the comfortable thing. This is about adopting mindsets and attitudes and patterns of action that are completely different than what 98% of the population does. So if you stand around the water cooler and absorb that 98% thinking, how are you going to become that kind of leader who stands with certainty in the face of adversity? How are you going to become the kind of leader who finds solutions when there appear to be none? How are you going to become the kind of leader that other people want to follow? So how do you find mentors in that space? Well, look around you. You could go watch videos, listen to podcasts, buy books published by other Agile coaches or Agile leaders or thought leaders in our industry. The stuff is everywhere. And when you find a leader whose style you admire, who speaks to you at a personal level, reach out. Remember, these people are not superstars. They're just regular people like you and me. And if you ask for help, if you ask for 15 minutes or 30 minutes of their time just to commune and get together, especially if they live in the same metro as you, you'd be surprised at how many of them will say yes. Now, if you're not comfortable with doing that or you haven't been able to find somebody, then join a meetup group or better yet, create your own. Create a meetup group that encourages Agile leaders to band together and exchange ideas. You have all kinds of people sign up for it. You have people who are very junior, and you'll also have people who are very senior and very experienced. And it's when you have those discussions centered around a certain topic that you'll see all the different mindsets and all the different experiences come to the fore. Learn from those people. If you can't do an in-person community via Meetup, you could probably do something online via Facebook group or by Reddit. There are so many different ways to build communities with other Agile leaders and thinkers. Now, possibly the best you could hope for is if there's someone within your organization or very close by whose work you can observe on a daily basis, someone who could actually mentor you, somebody who you could watch or shadow. Because through those people, you'll get daily and repeated exposure to their knowledge and their expertise. You'll actually get to watch them in action solving problems. You can ask questions as they come up. They can follow your development and growth and give you guidance on at least a semi-frequent basis. So that's what I want you to work on this week, is start having an eye out for people that you could ask, hey, is there a way I could spend a little bit more time with you so I could learn more about what you know? Really great leaders are always happy and enthusiastic to share and help others in their journey, which brings me to my next point. Once you've reached a certain level in your development, you're going to want to make sure that you're helping other people sharpen their skills as well. That means offering up and spending your time with other coaches, other scrum masters, and other people who are just learning the Agile philosophy and craft and are at the very beginning of their journey. It never fails to amaze me. Every time I meet someone who's just getting started in this space, the things that we take for granted are things that can be very confusing and very frightening for people just starting out. And spending 5 minutes to clarify concepts or help answer their questions so that we can straighten out some of their concerns can really accelerate their progress and help make them more successful in a very short period of time. I believe it's part of the service that we give back to the community once we ourselves have reached a certain level of excellence and continue to approach mastery. There's a saying that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So think about that this week, guys. What kind of attitudes and mindsets do you truly want to embrace and adopt and enhance in your life? Who is feeding your mind with mindsets and agile courage and proper practice rooted in service? And who is filling your mind with garbage and negativity and poor practice? Allow someone else to sharpen your game so that you in turn someday can sharpen somebody else's. To my mind, this is such an important part of our community and such an important part of our practice. Folks, thank you for listening. You can reach out at badassagile.com or find me on Twitter at badass_agile. And I'll see you next time.